Have you ever wanted to get involved in real estate development, but didn't know where to begin? Do you think real estate development is only for the large hedge funds or major corporations, the big guys? Or have you done some development in the past and are looking to scale up? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to the W.I.R.E.D Wealth and Real Estate Development Podcast. I am your host, Nick Smith. Get ready to have your mind blown and rewired as we discuss all aspects of creating wealth and real estate development. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you all are listening to this. This is the W.I.R.E.D Podcast, Wealth and Real Estate Development. I am your host, Nicholas Smith. We are here for episode 7, and I've got a special guest with me. But before we get into our guest, I do want to encourage you all to, again, subscribe to our show. If you're looking on YouTube, definitely do a search with W.I.R.E.D, either W.I.R.E.D with Nick Smith or W.I.R.E.D Real Estate. Because if you just type in W.I.R.E.D, it's going to probably take you to some weird technology, a YouTube platform or something like that. So definitely search W.I.R.E.D Nick Smith or W.I.R.E.D Real Estate. And I would greatly appreciate if you all subscribe, like, comment on most podcast platforms such as Spotify, Amazon Music. Still working on Apple, but we will get there soon. Again, we're episode 7. I have a special guest with me. I have my friend and my brother, Ricki Barlow, who is a native of Las Vegas. He is in Sin City. So thank him for truly being here. And I'm going to let him introduce himself to you all, and he can give you a little bit of his background and what he's up to.
Well, thank you so very much for the opportunity to be a part of your wonderful podcast, episode 7.
My pleasure.
As you mentioned, I am Ricki Barlow, and I am a native, as you mentioned, of Las Vegas, Nevada. I graduated from UNLV with an undergrad in political science. I also went through the master's program, the MPA program at UNLV as well. So I have a master's in public administration. And I'm also a graduate of the executive program out of Harvard University, their executive management program. And I have an MBA from Pepperdine University out of Malibu, California. So from an educational standpoint, I spent a lot of time educating myself and just a lifelong learner because I love learning new things. I spent also half my career in government and a great portion of that as an elected official for 12 years here in the city of Las Vegas. And now I'm on my own in the private sector, opened up my land use entitlement company, doing a lot of rezoning, a lot of licensing for high net worth clients on land deals. And I'm also a commercial broker with Coldwell Banker. And so having a lot of fun in this real estate industry and, just pretty much trying to grow and continue to learn each and every day and keep up with the various cycles that's going on in the world.
Man, that is wonderful. As they say, earners are learners. So you are truly a living example of that. And I do want to let people know, let our listeners know how Ricki and I actually met. Those of you all that have been following me know that I am a commercial real estate broker with Coldwell Banker here in the Northwest Indiana, Chicago land area. And Coldwell Banker Commercial, we had our international conference earlier this year in Chicago, and that is where Ricki and I met. It is amazing that there were about 250, I believe, to 300 brokers from all over the country, commercial brokers from all over the country, but there was 5 African Americans, 5 of us of Black American descent in that room. And that's something that I have noticed since I recently came over to the commercial space. Ricki, and I'd like to get your take on it. Why do you think there is not as much diversity in the commercial real estate side as, let's say, the residential side?
I asked the question, I've only been licensed now since 2019.
Okay.
And that's the first question that I asked when I started looking around, looking at the landscape, like, wow, where are the minorities in this space? And there's not many. And the more I asked my colleagues, and of course, they were comfortable in sharing that there's a lot of intricacies as it relates to commercial real estate. It's not an easy platform to wrap your arms around.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of the residential agents, you have the MLS that basically serves as their Bible. And commercial real estate is completely different. Commercial real estate, you're pretty much on your own trying to work through the deals, and the deal that you create on behalf of your client or the development itself. That's the deal. You sit and you negotiate. And so there's a lot of intricate elements to commercial real estate that those in the residential don't have to worry about, because their platform is the MLS. And so for that, I believe that you have a lot more minorities that are in the residential versus the commercial because of that step, number one. And then number two, the hold period, as far as you can go half a year, 10 months, 11 months with absolutely no
Nothing.
pay, right? And so having the ability to have money or have other sources of income coming through to support yourself while you work these deals, that's another reason why I truly believe those of those in the minority ranks don't participate in the commercial side as much, because it's a feast or famine on this side of the aisle, right? Although the commissions are much greater, and I truly believe the flexibility and the lifestyle, will serve you well on the commercial side, but it's most definitely a grind. It's a grind based on relationships. And in addition to that, you have a number of minorities that don't have the relationships with, for example, high net worth individuals that they can basically, surround themselves with to have that conversation and that comfort level where they turn over land, or have them go out and do specific research, or whatever that may be for that high net worth individual to work with. And so a lot of us, specifically African Americans, we don't come from neighborhoods that have those relationships built in. And so I truly believe that those are one, two, three areas that I've identified as to why you don't see more African Americans or minorities on the commercial side like you do on the residential.
Man, I totally agree. Totally agree. It's being that I came from the residential side. See, you didn't come from the residential side, so to speak.
Who,
Because you
me?
weren't. Were you a residential agent when you?
No,
Okay.
I took the plunge. I took the plunge and came directly into commercial. But the advantage that I had, which I didn't know, it was really organic as to how I even landed in commercial. Quick story, as I mentioned, I rezone land. I work with property owners to rezone their properties, from residential to commercial, commercial to industrial, whatever the land use may be, or a waiver, a special use permit that they may need, a gaming license, tobacco license, beer, wine, liquor. And so I'm constantly working with tenants. I'm constantly working with property owners. I'm constantly working with developers. And so one of my developers asked me to rezone a property, which I did. And it took me approximately 4 months to rezone the property. And then he turned and said, "Hey, I want to sell the property now. I believe that there's more value here now that the property is rezoned." And I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is more value." I took it from R1 to industrial, which is a huge jump in regards to, the zone change. And sure enough, he picked up the property for 6 figures, and he was able to sell the property for 7 figures.
Wow.
And so when I saw the commission check from the broker that I found on Google, it just did a quick Google search and talked to a guy, the first guy that popped up on Google, and I asked him, "Hey, can you come over and look at this parcel? Can you list it for us? Can you sell it?" He sold it within 45 days, but his commission check was here, and my service check was here. And he turned to me, and he wasn't being facetious. Never seen the guy, never met the guy before, never seen him since. But when I saw his commission check and he saw, what I made on the rezoning, he turned to me and says, "Man, you should be a broker." And I was sitting there with my eyes wide open, like, wow, I had no idea. And so I said, "I'm not going to allow this to happen again." That happened on a Wednesday. And on Monday, that following Monday, I was sitting in real estate school trying to figure out how to become a commercial broker.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So I says, I'm not going to allow that commission check to pass me by ever again.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. No, fool me
It was a
once, shame
learning.
on you.
I mean, it wasn't a matter of any shaming. It was more so of an opportunity that presented itself, and I took advantage of that opportunity by looking at how I can incorporate commercial real estate into my land use company.
Right.
My land use company is LV Access. And so lvaccess.com is my company. And being that I'm constantly rezoning properties, working with property owners and developers, it works out perfect for me to have a commercial license, because I have an opportunity now to go and assist my clients even more so with the opportunity of identifying land sites, and also, being a part of a variety of deals and opportunities to, create even more of a value add as far as what I bring to the table on behalf of the client and
Right.
their, and their developments.
Yeah. I think some of our greatest opportunities in life just come from being observant. You got to look and see where the opportunity, a lot of people, say that there are no opportunities, but are you looking for the opportunities? And when the opportunities come, are you in a position and are you willing to do what it takes to make that opportunity come to fruition? A lot of people kind of fall back on that excuse that there are no opportunities. And I tell people, man, there's real estate opportunities in every market. I don't care what market you're in, there are opportunities, but you have to be willing to see the opportunities. And when those opportunities present themselves, like you, I mean, when you saw that discrepancy of income, some people could have just let that ride pass, but you saw it and said, hey, no, I'm going to get my license, and, we're going to make this thing happen. But me coming from a residential background, there's definitely, you can tell there are two different skill sets, for a residential broker versus a commercial broker. Residential brokers, you almost have to be psychologists. You have to manage a lot of emotions, a lot of expectations. But the commercial side, man, it really boils down to, when you're working with clients, it boils down to the numbers. Do the numbers work? If I can buy this property at X, I put this amount into it. Can we resell it at this? Or if I need to rent it out, can I rent it out at this? It really boils down to it. And a lot of residential brokers do not really want to take on that skill set. That's one thing that I've learned for sure. But I want to talk about, go ahead. I think you're getting ready to say something.
Yeah, you brought a very valuable point that made me think about something, right? I look back now, Nicholas, and I have calculated the amount of money that I made over the course of my career. And I've had a great career in government. I mean, just wonderful. Wouldn't change it for the world, right? But looking back, as they say, 2020 hindsight, right? I would push for more minorities that are looking to increase their wealth to get into real estate, because this is a second career for me. And you know how they say, if I would have known then what I know now, I would have been in commercial real estate in my 20s, because the opportunities that exist out here, I had no idea existed, small to large. And one of the beautiful things about real estate is you don't have to go to school to be in real estate, right? You have more people in real estate that are making more money than those of us that have gone to school and educated ourselves. And that's not to knock education, because education is very important and it's something that I support heavily. And I truly believe in lifelong learning. But from a lifestyle standpoint, if you're looking for a quality lifestyle, commercial real estate is a wonderful place to be, because it teaches you so much about how to create long-term wealth. And one way to really raise a community that is impoverished, whether you're Black, white, Hispanic, or otherwise, getting into real estate really changes the dial on your income almost overnight. But like anything else, you have to stick with it.
Right.
So when you speak, Nicholas, about opportunities, real estate is a wonderful opportunity a wonderful opportunity. The point of entry to get in is low and the reward is high. But like anything else, if you get in and you stick with it, you most definitely will have a quality lifestyle moving forward. And specifically those who are in their 20s and 30s, this is a great field to be in. And specifically, if you can wrap your hands around it and understand, the ebbs and the flows of how to work it from a development standpoint, from property management, just basically owning your own shop or even joining a team that basically is rocking and rolling. I mean, there's a lot of great opportunities in this space. And the beautiful part about it is that the flexibility of time,
Yeah.
managing your own time and having the ability to really enjoy life without the, clocking in. That's one thing that I had difficulty doing as a young person, is basically clocking in and clocking out. I just felt so contained. But if you're the type of person that wants a lifestyle that you can be out and make things happen and also take long vacations without having to ask for permission, man, real estate is most definitely the way to go. At least
No,
that's how I've received it.
no,
I don't know your thoughts about it, but I would like to hear your opinion, your thought as it relates to what I just shared.
no, man, I 100% agree. It's been, I was laid off from the University of Chicago as a property manager in 2016, at the end of 2016. And I have not signed a timesheet or gotten an employer sponsored W-2, since that point. But I always tell people because people think, entrepreneurship is quote unquote the dream, it's the life. They see the highlight reels on social media, but entrepreneurship, being self-employed, being an entrepreneur, you eat what you kill.
Absolutely.
So you
100% commission.
it's 100% commission. So you know you have to be accountable to yourself.
Yeah,
Because if, with all the time flexibility that you have, if you go out there and don't produce, it will show at the end of the month. Because again, you eat what you kill. And a lot of people don't want that responsibility as well. So
I call it being addicted to the paycheck.
100%, 100%. Instead of saying what I'm worth and putting in the work for myself, we allow somebody else to say what we worth and what they'll pay us. I don't ever envision myself going back. I have no plans on going back. Don't want to go back. So, but
I laugh at that because you do hit lows in this real estate cycle.
oh yeah,
You hit lows, and a few times I basically paused to say, well, maybe I should go and get a job. And then I thought about the hourly wage of what that will be. And I said, what if I just spent a few more hours working, making some more calls, and I can walk away with a six-figure commission check for the same amount of time that it would take me, you know, working on somebody's job. And that job may not even yield me six figures depending on what I'm doing. And so I was like, nah, let me just pick up and make 100 more calls, 200 more calls.
100%. And when that frame of mind really hit me was during the pandemic, because during the pandemic, they were floating a lot of the unemployment for self-employed individuals, things like that. It was one of the first times they had ever offered, unemployment to self-employed individuals.
Right.
But man, I literally started the application process. The application was so ridiculous. It was so cumbersome. I was like, you know what? The amount of time I'm spending on here, I could be spending this time increasing my business.
That's correct.
The hours I'm spending trying to figure out this crazy application, I could be using these hours to increase my business. And literally during the pandemic, my business doubled. So I totally and 100% agree with you on that.
You know, I I'm glad you mentioned that because I've been keeping this very close to my vest. And I know the pandemic hurt a lot of people, thousands of people,
Yeah.
millions of people. But interesting enough, the pandemic years were my highest yielding years in my life.
Hmm.
That's when my life change was actually the pandemic. I had so much business during that time period. It was crazy, right? And I basically kept it quiet because so many people around me were not having that level of experience
Yeah.
or opportunity. And so I was just basically real docile about that. So it's interesting to hear that you have the same benefits that I enjoyed during that time period, you know. It's just interesting to have that commonality there.
Yeah. So let's shift gears a little bit. One of the other common things that we share is local government. I was a local government employee. You were an actual elected official. How
Well,
did
I started off as an employee now.
Okay. Well, how did that transition? How did that transition from the local employee to an elected official?
Well, I started right out of college. I was recruited to work for the US Senate. And I was a legislative aide in Washington, D.C. for one of our US senators. And from there, I came back to Las Vegas after doing a stint on Capitol Hill. And I became the chief of staff for one of the local council people here. And through that process, I was served in the office as a staffer for approximately maybe close to 10 years. And from there, he was appointed to another elected office. And so it left a void on the council. And I received a lot of phone calls asking me to run for that seat.
Hmm.
And so I ran for the city council seat, and I served on the council until I retired in 2018. And that's when I started my company, LV Access. But it was a great opportunity as a staffer as well as an elected official, because it gave me an opportunity to really come in and do some great things in the community. A lot of developments. I brought in, over $1 billion of development, in my ward, in my district, over the course of time that I served. And it was just a great opportunity to really give back, from the lowest level to the highest level in elected office. Today, the politics today, unfortunately for me, it's saddening to see what's happening, as far as the structure of our government and at every level.
Mhm.
It just seems like it's just unraveling, and it's just really saddening me to see how America is unfolding the way it is. The politics is no longer, in my opinion, respected at the local level. And this is where those constituents actually need good policy in order for them to be protected, in order for them to live and expand and grow and develop. And when you have politicians that are not doing what they should be doing on behalf of their constituency, it's just really sad to see where we've come today from a political standpoint.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So your company that you started,
Mhm.
I know you focus on rezoning, getting land entitlements put to place. For people that may not know, because I do, being that I'm a commercial broker, I still dialogue and talk with a lot of residentials, and I'll throw words out there just to kind of see, if they know it, and it's not trying to brag or make them feel bad or anything like that, but I'm just working with them, especially those that have expressed some interest in, investment and development, things like that. But the term land entitlements, what does land entitlements or entitling a property, what does that mean?
So land entitlement, you basically have a raw piece of land, right? Let's just take the corner of A A Street, right? A and First. It's a vacant piece of parcel, and it starts off as dirt before it's entitled. Someone comes and say, I would like to put a corner market with a gas station. And in Vegas, we have gaming. So I would like gaming on this property as well in order to generate revenue. And I would like to have to have the opportunity to sell beer, wine, and liquor. Okay. That's their vision for this corner at the corner of A and First Street. Okay. So the landowner would come to me and say, listen, this is my vision for this corner. This is what I would like to do. And therefore, I need to get this corner entitled through the local jurisdiction, whether it be the county or the city or township. And so what I would do is work with my architects, work with my engineers, sit down with the property owner, and go over all of the aspects as to what the property owner wants to do and what type of operation they're going to run so that we can get it entitled. So the entitlement component is it's zoned undeveloped today. So I'll put an application together along with the site plan, the engineering, and apply for C1 for commercial, for example. But with gaming, you may need another application because there's gaming on this site as well. If there's gas, there may be a special use permit that's needed. If there's landscaping and there's not enough, or you want landscaping in a specific area of this property, that's another application that needs to be on the site, which is a waiver, right? And so you may have the zoning application, you have the gaming application, you have the beer wine application, you have the waivers of landscape, and you have the special use permit to have the gaming or to sell a specific product that will need a special use permit on the site. All those applications make up an entitlement application. And I'll take that application and I'll take it before the local jurisdiction and present it before the mayor and council or the town board or the county commission or the board of supervisors, depending on how you all call them. And I'll explain to them this development that we're doing, and that local jurisdiction will approve that application, which means fully entitle it. And then I'll take that application and deliver it back to the property owner. That property owner will then take the application and take it to the general contractor to start building that development while applying for the business licensing that has just been approved to operate that corner store. So before any trucks show up, I show up to entitle, to basically get permission to allow the uses on a specific parcel of land to be licensed to do just what they want to do, right? Parks, schools, churches, daycares, corner stores, strip malls, strip clubs, casinos, all land needs to be entitled inside of a jurisdiction.
Right. No,
so
and that,
I process land use applications to get the approval from the local jurisdictions in regards to what's being built and where, why, and how. I answer all those questions on behalf of the client.
and again, that is a very intricate and detailed process, which is, again, you touched on it earlier, why a lot of people that stick in the residential side, they don't delve in this spot because it just takes time. You know, it on an average, that process that you mentioned, would it be safe to say that that's probably, depending on the site, depending on what's planned, that could easily be a 12-month process?
Yes, the larger developments could very well be 12 months. Smaller developments, you're looking anywhere between 4, I would say the minimum of 4, 6, 8, 12, and larger projects can be up to 18 months to get it fully entitled, depending on the size and scale of what we're working on.
100%, but it's not 45 days like
No.
closing a house.
No, because it'll take 45 days just for me to work with the engineer and architects just to
Right.
get the application, dialed in enough to have something to deliver first look, first draft to the client.
100%. Now, with your government employee and elected official background, do you think that gave you a competitive edge, in doing what you do now with the business that you started?
I would say that my relationships my educational backdrop, my experience on the council in development, all of that coupled with my personality, all of that completely made it well rounded for me to do what I do. Absolutely. Right. The learning curve was not there when I opened my doors to start my land use company, to get going, because I understood 80% of what needed to be done. The other 20% was administrative. That was running a company, being the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That part right there was completely new for me because every 2 weeks I received a paycheck that I didn't have to worry about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all I have to do is just show up. 2 weeks later, I get a paycheck. I just, basically continue to show up. Well, here, I'm the janitor, I'm the executive assistant, I'm the accountant, I'm the coordinator, I'm the marketing director. I'm all the above, right? When it comes to being an entrepreneur, you have to basically know a little bit about all of those areas in order for your company to operate and function the way it needs to, right? And that part right there was quite a learning curve. But once again, using resources and talking to folks, help to shorten that learning curve and basically pull people on board to assist in specific areas because it was a complete tilt up, right? I thought I would just basically show up, open the doors, and people will come running through. Well, that wasn't the case. I had to basically pull together a marketing plan and a business plan that, would have an opportunity to attract those who are looking for the type of services in which my firm provides. And so that 20% was most definitely an eye opener.
100%. No, man, I think everybody that goes into business for themselves, unless you've had an extreme amount of training or something like that, but the business aspect, you can have the skill set for the job or for the tasks that need to be done. So, I mean, you were a land entitlement expert, you had the relationships, you know how to do that. But running a business is a job in itself. Just running the business aspect of it.
Yeah, just the business side of it is one, you nailed it. It's a job all by itself because there's a lot of things that you have to do, from a tax standpoint,
Let's not even talk about taxes.
accounting standpoint. I mean, billing standpoint, all of those elements come into play, which has, it ties into what I do every day as far as going out and entitling these properties. But, the administrative side is a monster all by itself.
Totally understand. And when you say that word taxes, that's one of the most challenging aspects. I'll be candid. For me, I'll speak personally.
Let me speak to taxes real quick because this was very interesting because, when you're not making a lot of money, you really don't think about taxes the way that you do when you start to make some serious money. And one thing about taxes today is I don't mind taxes at all. I don't mind it at all because I understand it and I understand how it works and I understand how taxes actually benefit me.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy it. I want to pay my fair share, right? I want to pay my fair share. And once you understand how it works, you'll understand why I'm saying what I say.
Gotcha. No, I totally get it. Totally get it. So you're the one through your business and even through Caldwell Banker Commercial, you're the person that helps a developer kind of go out, get the property ready to be developed 100%, get all the government approvals, get everything that's needed. Have you ever thought about, or have you even ever had the desire to be the one that actually does the development themselves, or have you done any development?
It's interesting that you asked because I'm actually starting my first development partnership.
Nice.
So right now I have a partner. We have 4.5 acres of land in downtown here, and we're looking to bring on approximately 200 apartment units. And so for that, due to my expertise, then, I'm a minority partner in this development. and having an opportunity to do this development, I'm really excited about it because I've always wanted to develop something. And this is going to be my first development of many to come. And so that's what I alluded to earlier in regards to real estate having an opportunity to really change someone's life literally overnight if you just stick to it.
Yeah.
And getting involved on the development side, I mean, now you look at 200 doors, 200, apartment doors, and getting a percentage from each door monthly. You think about that, that's cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is just one development. Imagine if I had 10 developments,
Right.
getting a percentage from each door every 30 days, right? That's what we're talking about. And so having an opportunity to, be in this development area and being a part of real estate, if it weren't for real estate, I wouldn't have known or had an opportunity, for example, to be a part of, a round table of individuals who are looking for partners to do something. And then I come to the table with my knowledge and being able to bring a value add to what they were working on, which basically inserted an opportunity and created a seat at the table for me to be a part of the partnership.
Right. Yeah,
So
no,
most
that's
definitely, I'm looking forward to that. And yes, I am a developer now.
good deal.
Development here.
Good deal. Now, this one, is it going to be market rate apartments, or are you guys looking at doing some low income housing tax credits? What type of development is it going to be?
Well, working with the local municipality, the local jurisdictions, we have an opportunity to tap into a number of funding sources. You have the tax increment financing, you have the home funds that are available. But for the most part, these are going to be a mixture of market rate and affordable. And so running the calculations for that, we're using state as well as local funds to assist us with this to basically offset, the gap that we currently have. And so, we'll have a nice mixture of both market rate and affordable housing units at
Wow,
this
man,
development.
that is impressive. That's very impressive. So glad to hear you stepping into the development side. A lot of people stay on the services side of it and never really take that plunge into the actual property ownership. But I always borrow a quote that I heard from Jim Rohn. He said, "Selling real estate makes you a living, but owning real estate makes you a fortune." So
Yeah,
I've kept that.
I can tell you right now, Nicholas, that once this development is up and running, I know that I will remain on the development side because it's just something about owning developments like this that it gets me up, it gets me going, it gets my blood flowing. And I just look at, you know, legacy, having an opportunity to leave something significant, for my kids, right? Something that they can basically come and sit in my seat that I created. My kids can come and sit in the same seat and carry it on if I were to leave tomorrow, right? And to me, that's very special for me to have come from nothing to had an opportunity to build a career and now build a business that my kids can walk into and carry on and still make, a nice quality life for them and their families and their future, in our future, in the future generations of our family. Is something very special and something that I don't take lightly.
Man, that's great. That is truly awesome. As we get ready to close up, I'm not going to keep you too long. I do appreciate your time and appreciate you being here with us. But if somebody wanted to get into this land space, whether it's developing land, whether it's learning how to entitle land, or become a developer, actually the person behind the scenes putting up these new apartment complexes or new industrial parks or new mixed use properties, what advice would you give to somebody that wanted to get in this space?
I would say you basically, identify someone that you can vibe with, right? Someone that will sit down with you and don't mind sharing, grabbing a bite to eat and just really picking their brain and shadowing if it's something, if you're completely green, right? and just follow and just, do a lot of research, get on the computer like I do, opposed to being on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm cruising through the internet, looking at different developments across the country, reading their websites, looking at their developments, digging a little bit deeper and doing Google searches on news reports as far as, tracking a specific development just to see, how did they get their funding, right? And then going into the local municipalities' websites as far as, in various areas, as far as what type of funding are they issuing out and how does that work? And just really educating yourself from that standpoint, because doing a development I'm finding out is not difficult at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not difficult at all. It's just a matter of finding the land, right? And it's not difficult if you're willing to put in the work. Let me put it that way, right? Because there is some difficult elements to it, but you don't necessarily have to be the one to figure that piece out. You can basically have someone, the bank or an investor, who's more experienced than you to basically work out some of the intricate details. But if it's your development, then you basically build that team around you to basically assist you with the heavy lift. And so getting out, meeting people, identifying a developer that's doing a development, and shadow them. That's what I would say, shadow them. And you'll learn a lot. And you'll also start to build relationships, right? And create opportunities. And don't be afraid to put your money next to them as well. 2% of $1, right? 2% of $100, 2% of $1 million, 2% of $10 million, 2% of $100 million development.
Right.
Think about that. It's all scale. So what we have to do also as a community of minorities is not be afraid to invest. Scared money don't make money. So,
100%.
You have to be willing to take risks, but smart risk, and start placing your money next to those individuals who are making money. If they're making money, you're making money.
100%.
Right?
Experience is still the best teacher, but it does not have to be your experience. We can bounce off of other people's experience and build those. That's the name of the game in real estate, is relationships, man. You got to get out there. You got to meet people, got to talk to people, as we have done. So I truly want to thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure, Ricki. If people want to get in touch with you, we got some people that might be interested in doing some development or interested in the Las Vegas market. What is the best way for people to get in contact with you?
The best way to reach me is to reach me directly. I'll give you my cell number, 702-461-3121. And that's me direct, 702-461-3121. Or, you can basically, if you're looking to do any type of real estate in the Las Vegas Valley or even in Nevada, feel free to reach out to me. Email me at Ricki, RICKI, .Barlow, BARLOW, at cbcvegas.com. Charlie Bravo Charlie Vegas.com.
Man, it has truly been a pleasure. Thank you for your time. Again, to my listeners, thank you all for tuning in today. Again, we had the pleasure of having Mr. Ricki Barlow with us. Please subscribe to this channel. Listen to the podcast, whatever platform that you have. Subscribe on YouTube. Again, we look forward to joining you on the next one. Until then, let's go get wired up. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please share this content with someone else who would benefit from it. I'm looking forward to having you with me on the next episode. Now go out and create some wealth in real estate development.